So hi, as previously mentioned, I'm Dorian Vaughn, and you are?
Hi, I'm Anjna Swaminathan.
Okay, so introduce yourself a little and tell us about the piece.
My name is Anjna, and I am a Carnatic violinist. I play a little bit of Hindustani music, but in the past few years, I've become very much entrenched in the creative music scene in New York. And it's been a learning because I think that there's a way that when you come from a classical tradition, you can feel like you know everything there is to know. And or rather, you don't know everything there is to know, and but your world is all that there is. And coming to New York and experiencing the vast world of polyrhythms and harmony and free improvisation and all of the amazing collaborations that happen in New York across cultures, across races, across musics really taught me to be humble and to listen a little bit more. So this piece is actually the first time I ever wrote something that involves a polyrhythm. So it was exciting to map onto students because it's actually in a cycle of 25. And so it was kind of my way of saying, okay, I'm gonna try to wrap my mind around this thing that scares me, and hopefully it can be a game, and that's why it's called Precarious. And it kind of ends up manifesting some of my own anxieties around rhythm and my own anxieties around the capacity to express emotions through rhythm. So I think that it can be a really exciting thing for students to try. And we talked a little bit about this in the rehearsals. What does a panic attack feel like? What does it feel like when it shows up in music? What is the joy of the release out of that when you find out what that thing is that's bothering you? So we really worked together in finding a way to help each other out of the precariousness. And I think we did that really well today.
Okay, so how does it feel working with younger musicians on your piece?
Yeah, so sort of like going off of that, I think it's the first time for me. I'm usually used to being a young composer working with older musicians and be like, why don't you tell me what to do? So it was really exciting to, especially working with a friend of mine like Akash, to be like, okay, so tell me the lay of the land, and being able to like get to know each of you and your names and get to work with you even without your teacher there was kind of like, okay, I have to step into a leadership position that I might not be used to and guide you.
Okay, can you tell us 3 things that you're listening to right now?
Oh, okay. So I'm listening to a lot of classical music, Western classical music, because I'm getting more and more deep into string compositions and just listening to the vast array of things from Bartok and many other versions of this. And there's also current new music composers, contemporary musicians. And 2, Samarth Nagarkar, who you will hear later today, is my teacher. And so I'm often listening to recordings of his teachers, to really get a sense of wrapping my own mind around Hindustani music. So as someone who comes from a different tradition, it's been a lot of listening to that. And it's not so much something I'm listening to, but I'm watching a lot of women of color who have been creating contemporary interdisciplinary work. So seeing what composition looks like when it's theatrical and visual and all of these other things.
All right, thank you.